This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. A participant in nearly 700 PGA Tour events. 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
A Sunday morning on 101 ESPN. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and with Jay Delsing, who's competing in this year's Ascension Charity Classic. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and away we go on 101 ESPN. Reminder that our show airs every Sunday, 8 to 10 on 101. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jay, it has been an eventful week for you and the final day of the Ascension Charity Classic this afternoon.
Absolutely. This show will be rolling out. We'll be getting all prepped up for it. And, man, it's been a great week. The weather has been wonderful. The golf course, the spectators. I mean, Danny, just every single thing that HNS and their team and Nick and Steve and the team at Ascension could think of, they took care of.
And St. Louis stepped up yet again. I was out there all week. I got a chance to caddy for you.
How about that? There's a whole show on its own right there.
Oh, we will. Don't worry about that.
Caddy Alley for Danny Mac.
It was awesome for the Pro-Ams, and that was so much fun for me. Really a dream come true to do that and to do it specifically with you. But St. Louis came out, man, even during the Pro-Ams, and what we saw on Friday and Saturday, yesterday, the crowds have been magnificent this week.
Yeah, it's just... You know, we've talked a lot about it, but until you actually see the boots on the ground, so to speak, you know, and all the people out there enjoying it. Danny, it's a big party. It's a big social scene. You got a golf tournament going on, but people are having a cocktail, and there's TVs out there, and there's food, and our weather's been good. I mean, it's a great gathering, you know, and everybody's getting together and raising money for North County and having a good time. I mean, what the heck, man? How do we get involved in this? It's a pretty good deal.
My man, as we have talked about before, is from North County and grew up at a very young age, toting bags, working in the bag room, then starting to take money from people as he got better and better, which is awesome. But you probably never, ever in your life envisioned that a PGA Tour event would come through St. Louis. And here we are, and you're playing in it. That's got to make you feel great.
Danny, just think about this. Just if the PGA Tour came to St. Louis, you know, the PGA was at Bellerive in 92. And, excuse me, that was back in the day where they allowed so many club pros in that more tour players didn't get to play. I wound up first alternate that week.
Ooh, I bet you were upset.
I sat there and I didn't get in. And it really, really sucked because that would have been first ever home.
That's your home game.
Yeah, home game and Bellerive Country Club and all that. But it didn't work out. But just fast forward now, what is that, 30 years later, we got this at Norwood? I mean, it's fantastic. And you've been out there. You watched. Isn't the build-up incredible? I mean, just standing, pick a green on the back nine, the 17th green.
17 is what stands out to me.
Isn't that super? I mean, it's just super cool. You're down in like a little fishbowl. You got all those people watching, and you know they're all wanting you to hole a putt or knock a shot in there. It for me as a player, it just gets you fired up, man. It just gets you more adrenaline and makes you really want to put on a show.
How have your nerves been all week? Because you've had a lot of different things to deal with. When it is a home game in your hometown, it's family, it's friends,
you got a lot more cousins this week, Danny.
How many tickets have you had out?
Oh, man, I haven't counted, but I don't even want, you know, the guys at, again, HNS and Ascension and Connor and Tim Heidman, Alonzo, they've been great. I mean, they've been great. It's interesting because when you're looking at this tournament from even a couple weeks or even a month away, you're just thinking about the game. You're thinking about how much fun this is going to be, the golf course, you're prepping, working on your game. And then as you start getting closer, Danny, the nerves get so different, like dealing with the what ifs. You know, you sit there and I don't play anymore. So when I was playing all the time, I had a real routine on what to do and then how I'd get rid of them. And man, I'm laughing to myself with some of the thoughts that, you get those thoughts like, what if you don't make any putts? You know it is. You just have these things that you deal with, and so I've been dealing with them, and I'm just rolling it right back around and saying, look, maybe that will happen.
Sure.
But it's not going to happen because I'm afraid of it. It might not go my way, but I am going to let it rip, man. I am going to be gunning for pins. I am going to be trying to make birdies, and I am going to be having fun because this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience to be able to get. Who gets to do this?
The Ascension Charity Classic will wrap up today out at Norwood Hills Country Club. You mentioned routine. How about your routine this week? What have you done to really kind of put the cherry on top in your preparation, which has been truly all summer getting ready for this event?
Well, the hard work is done already and was done before this week. I've worked hard on my swing. I've got my equipment where I want it. I got my body where I want it because that was kind of a curveball that was thrown at us about a month ago or so. So got a couple injections and things like that for different ailments. And now it's really about trying to pace yourself and be ready on Friday because there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of media requests and things like that. And look, the guys, Frank and Martin and all those really good guys, and they want to support the local TV, and you want to do it and support them as well and the tournament, and then you have 3 pro-ams to play in, and
you played in those this past week,
right? Playing that's the past week. So Tuesday there was a pro-am on the East Course, and then we played, and you caddied for me Wednesday and Thursday morning. So it's just from the old days of the PGA Tour. There's not much similarity. There really isn't. There's carts. There's a lot. It's just a more chill environment, Danny, and it's different that way. But from a physical standpoint, to me, this is much more demanding because this is a lot of golf. And, when I do my pro-ams, man, I give a lot to the pro-ams. I want the guys to have a good time. I'm giving lessons, and I really and truly care about their experience, and for the most part, there's just typically one of those a week, so they're having a couple extra. You just gotta. I'll be riding a cart, taking conservative energy, but still lots of good. You saw the guys, man. They were jacked up.
They loved
to play in it.
So when you're riding a cart, which you did this past week in preparation for Friday, Saturday, and again today. Do you like that, or would you rather be walking so that you can kind of clear your mind, think about the shot, those kind of things?
Yeah, I'd rather be walking the whole time, and what I'm doing is I'm riding the cart and sprinkling in some walking here and there because it's real helpful just to stretch your legs and to get some blood flowing and get up a little sweat. I like all that stuff. So that's also been kind of a different animal, so to speak, to handle. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to walk the front 9 and ride the back 9? Am I going to, so all of that is stuff I've been kind of wrestling with, trying to figure out and trying to make that work.
I've been watching you all week. You're catching up with a lot of old friends, guys that you've been competing against for 30, 40 years. I bet you guys just pick up right where you left off, like it's no big deal.
Danny, I swear, some of the guys don't even know I don't play anymore because that's like, they act like I haven't. I think I played a tournament 2 years ago, and prior to that, it was probably another 3. I probably played one tournament in the last 5 years, but they talk to you like you're still grinding out there, you're still working on your game, and I'm like, guys, I don't play anymore.
Yeah.
I play with you, and I play with our friends, and I still loved to play, but it's golf, but it's not really the same. You know what I mean? When you're out there on tour. So yeah, it's interesting. And from kind of the weirder side of it, I swear, there's some guys that are telling the same stories they were 10 years ago, man. I mean, it's like they're frozen in time and they're still stuck on, what happened, Jacksonville is
sure.
doing this, and now we got Liv in there and we got all that other stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on, from a interpersonal standpoint here.
From our perspective of what it means to family, you mentioned that much of your family has been in town. Your girls, very close friends have come from out of town to watch you play. For people that are listening to this, they may not know that the Delsing family and extended family is awfully athletic. So Jim Delsing played in the major leagues. That's your dad. Jay Delsing competed nearly 30 years on the PGA Tour. Then there's a guy named Taylor Twellman who's standing outside our studio, who will be our guest coming in momentarily, who was a 5-time All-Star MLS and one of the best players in that league. That is your nephew. Yeah. He's and his dad, my brother-in-law Tim, played in the NASL, the North American Soccer League, for 10 years. And so, we've been running, chasing balls one way or the other for a long, long time. My daughter Brennan played volleyball at Fordham. And then my youngest daughter Jo is playing at University of St. Francis right now. So we've got some genes that are sporty. I can't wait to visit with Taylor and to get into just if there's parallels between soccer and golf and the mental side of sports, and I'm sure we're going to get into that.
Oh, and Danny, this kid loves the game. I mean, you love the game.
I do.
You're a student of the game of golf. You got Golf Channel on your phone and every TV over at your house, and he's the same way. He loves it, and I want him to talk about that competitive Jones. Like his career ended way too soon with his concussions, and he's been beaten up pretty badly with those concussions, but he can walk, he can play golf. It's just the right amount of exercise. He also competed in a few of those celebrity sort of tournaments, which is really interesting too. So we have lots to talk about.
I bet when we get in here, it's when he gets into the studio and we all get together in here, it's going to be instant offense. That guy can talk, man.
Instant offense is loud, Danny. You're going to have to work on our numbers. We Delsings are big mouths, man. And between he and I, it's going to be, he is not shy. That's all I'm going to say. As everybody knows about my nephew Taylor, he is a great guy, and he's very opinionated. He's well-read, Danny. He's extremely respectful, but, man, he will let her fly.
Your dad, his nickname was Chief.
Chief, yeah.
What do you think your dad would think about this week and an event like this coming to Norwood Hills?
Oh, you're going to make me start crying. My dad would be Danny, when my dad watched me play, he'd be standing behind a tree, breaking a stick. He was just nervous. And
did he follow you much? Did he go on tour much?
A few times. He went up to some of the closer events. He went to Milwaukee. He was a Wisconsinite. He grew up in Wisconsin. So he would go to Milwaukee a lot. Maybe the last 3 or 4 years of his life would go up there. He'd also go down to Memphis. So they saw some good golf in Memphis. They saw some good golf up in Wisconsin too, but Memphis was usually pretty much a lock.
Now, you set a record in Memphis, and it was what, 62?
61.
61.
Yeah.
And he said, well, why didn't you make this putter?
I can't even believe it. My dad was obviously played sport at a high level and knows the ins and outs and all this stuff. I shoot a 60. I start a Sunday in Memphis, and it is Africa hot down there, right? And I'm starting off in like 50th place or something, and so I'm back in the pack, and I shoot 61 and finish like 4th.
So you come 10. Off the
Danny, balls
18th, and what happens?
And my dad looks at me and he says, "Son, how did you not make that putt on number 12? And I said, Dad, you got to be kidding me. I just shot the lowest round that I've, on the PGA Tour that I've shot, in one of the, top 10 lowest rounds ever on the PGA Tour. Dad, how can you ask me about one that I didn't make? He goes, I don't know, but it just seemed like you were making everything else. Why the hell didn't you make that? I'm like, I'm with you. I thought I was going to make it. It didn't go in, But for him, it was interesting because my mom would be on the one side of the fairway, Danny, like praying the rosary and beating the rosary beads to death. And my dad would have like a stick in his hand, just burning off nervous energy. And they were on opposite sides of the fairway. They didn't talk to one another. They all extremely superstitious. Like if I made a birdie with my dad having his left hand in his pocket, he'd walk around the whole, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
That's how my family was.
So he'd be emotional about an event like this.
He would be. And he had a lot of friends at Norwood as he's aged. Gosh, my dad would be 99. My dad would be 99 this year if he were still around. And so some of his friends, those guys, the older they get, the stories got funnier and some of the golf games got quicker. Man, last time I played with my dad, He was like, son, just pick it up. That's good. And I'm like, Dad, it's a 10-footer. He's like, come on, let's go. I know you're going to make that. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to the Hall of Fame if I get to play golf with you on tour. Just hit it on the green and pick it up. It's good. So, yeah, I miss my dad every day. I know you miss your dad too. It's tough being men without our dads, but it's a cool week. And that's one of the emotional things about Norwood, Danny, is because I grew up over there, and then when I got to be a senior in high school, my parents actually joined Norwood. So my dad got to play there a lot. And the game of golf really was the main reason I even got to know my dad. I was the fourth of 5 kids. We didn't have a lot of dough, so he was always working, trying to make ends meet. And, when you're the fourth, you're down the end of the totem pole, they're like, yeah, get going and do your thing and, hurry up about it, and that's what it felt like.
I kind of felt for you this week and really this summer. Anytime we were out at Norwood, which was a lot, so thank you very much, and thank you to the folks at Norwood for letting me play with you as much as we did. Always a member coming up to you and asking you, just not hounding you, but just out of respect, are you going to play?
Yeah.
How's your game?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? I mean, after a while, you just kind of want to be left alone and focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, and it's so well-intentioned, so you're used to it.
It's a great burden to have.
Right, but you're 100% right. I mean, it's just, you get to the point now where you give a canned answer, right? You're not really even thinking too much about it. You appreciate the kind thoughts, but, you kind of move on just a little bit. Yeah, and I mean, no ill will or anything like that, but it's just, that's why, as we built up to this, I kept saying, gosh, I just can't wait for this to go. I can't wait for this to go, because I feel like we've been pushing, and you and I are ambassadors for the tournament as well, so we're involved in some of the other economic things and some of the events. I mean, UMC, the Pro-Am party, the putting challenge, the RSM putting, and I mean, all of that stuff, Danny, just throws more and more money in the pot for our North County and all of our charities.
It's awesome. We're off and running. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And let's tip our cap before we visit with Taylor Twellman.
And we're tipping our cap, and the tip of the cap is brought to you by Colin Burt and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. 314-966-0303 is their number. Guys, if you need anything, any sort of vehicle, Colin is your guy. He's a terrific guy, and he can get any car, not just Volkswagens. I've got a cool Yukon that I love. My daughter's driving a Passat. Pearlie's got a big Toyota truck. Colin's been great. We're tipping our cap to the Champions Tour, the PGA Tour champions, all the friends, Ernie Els, Bernhard Langer, every single guy that's come to St. Louis this week, put on a show, practiced, worked on their game, and helped us raise money and helped us. We couldn't, Danny, we couldn't do it without the volunteers. We couldn't do it without the corporate citizens. We couldn't do it without the PGA Tour, but we got to have the players. It's that we got to have the players, and we appreciate the players going out, being prepared, and wanting to put on a show. We got the Golf Channel coverage. All that stuff matters, and we really appreciate it. And I want to thank Colin again at Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, 314-966-0303. That's Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood.
That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Taylor Twellman is coming up. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
This is Dan McLaughlin, inviting you to the 21st Annual Dan McLaughlin Golf Tournament to benefit the Special Education Foundation. This tournament has raised over $5 million, and 100% of the money raised has gone to children with special needs in our community. To sponsor, volunteer, or to play in the event on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club, please visit sef-stl.org. I'll see you on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club.
I'd like to welcome I Promise to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. What is I Promise, you ask? It's a St. Louis-based company with the most clinically backed eye health performance supplement brand with over 20 years of eye health expertise and nutrition science. It's all natural, and their cutting-edge science and technology has helped I Promise forge many exciting new golf partnerships, like with the PGA of America, the Titleist Performance Institute, the Ledbetter Academy, and many more. Perhaps the most exciting component for me is that all of this new improvement is measurable. I can tell you that in my case, my initial score was around 0.25, and after taking the I Promise product for 2+ months, my score soared to almost 0.60. It had more than doubled. I can now read the greens better because I'm not really dealing with as much glare and trying to manage that, and I squint much less when I'm playing golf. And you don't have to take it from me. Check out what Padraig Harrington has to say about this product. He is playing some of the best golf of his career in his early 50s, and he swears I Promise has helped improve his short game. Check out I Promise. That's I Promise, the company helping us to see better, play better, and live better. Visit them at ipromise.com.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobson, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
The Legends of Golf return to St. Louis in 2023. You won't want to miss one of the strongest fields in golf. Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, John Daly, and many more when they compete for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic title, September 5th through the 10th at historic Norwood Hills Country Club. All proceeds benefit area charities. Together, we were able to donate over $1 million to those most in need last year. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. And the reason we have them is because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and very easy. Their customer service is second to none. They provided my daughter with a loaner car when her Passat needed repairs. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester and Kirkwood, you'll become a customer for life because they'll treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Doherty Business Solutions. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And in studio, this should be a lot of fun, Taylor Twellman, 5-time MLS All-Star, former MVP of the league. And Taylor, I know you're a soccer guy and really all sports, but we're talking golf here today and this morning here on 101 ESPN. Golf really does bring us together, and I know that's one of the main reasons you love this sport.
It's actually Taylor Delsing. You don't know this, Dan. I'm actually Jay's son.
Oh, we're going to get into
this. Wait, that's incest. That's in Missouri. Wait, disregard that. Can we turn this thing off?
We'll strike it. Strike it from the record.
We're fine.
Taylor Twellman, former MVP of the MLS, and is doing incredible work with concussions and trying to have prevention and protecting kids and pro athletes. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But this is more than just having Taylor Twellman in our studio because there's a family connection.
Oh, my gosh, I couldn't be prouder of him. He's my favorite soccer player of all time.
I'm going to tell my 75 uncles that he said that.
Exactly. And, Taylor caddied for me in some U.S. Open qualifying. I can fondly say I had something to do with his love of the game. This guy is a really good player, and I know how much you love the game, and that just
I tell
makes
everybody
my heart
that
swell.
story, Jay, and Dan. It was in Boone Valley, right? And I'll never forget it because I'm literally looking at my dad who's walking with me. Mom's there, and I'm just making sure I'm. And I would say I think I was 18 maybe at the time, my etiquette was all right. It was pretty good.
No,
right?
it was really good.
Until I tried to read one of the putts, and Jay goes, just make sure the clubs are clean.
I couldn't read them either.
I go, I got it. He's right.
Now, wait a minute. Now, Jay Bird, you had him play as your quote-unquote son on a PGA father-son event, right?
So this was so much fun. This was in, I think, the late 80s or
it was?
so.
No,
right?
I was barely 10 years old, so it had to be late 80s.
Early 90s.
So he's a little guy.
Yeah,
You're on
he's a
tour.
little
You're
guy,
doing your
and they're
thing.
having a father-son, and, I don't have
And he's your nephew.
I don't have children yet, so I talked to his mom and dad.
And Chief couldn't play. Remember, Chief, you were thinking about
right,
that way, so
right.
he did the little kid, so
my dad couldn't play, so
This is amazing.
Mooch, my sister, brings the family down.
We did.
Do the whole Disney thing, and I said, hey,
amazing.
why not play in the father-son? Why don't you be my son, and we'll go play? We get paired with Raymond Floyd and his son, which is an entirely different show. Taylor, we could talk about the strangeness of that whole thing because
I may have been 9 years old, but I think I hit puberty immediately after the
Oh my gosh, it was just insane. And I think we played with Doug Toole.
Doug
and his
Toole,
son,
you're exactly
which
right.
of course he is like churchgoer, right?
Yep.
And
Which didn't
see
really
you
go
guys-
well with the Delsings, but
I was gonna say I don't see you two guys being the church. Not that it's a bad thing, but you're the church going
we may or may
with-
not have drafted the F-bomb one or two times as a
Exactly. And
10-year-old.
you're
was
doing
10,
it.
and I was trying to teach him some stuff about golf, and I thought the F-bomb was very important. But anyway,
Well, in the game of golf, it is.
oh my gosh, Danny, we get out there, and I'll never forget
awesome.
this. We go on the first hole, and I think you hit the drive, and I hit the second shot on, and Taylor. And I got to give him some props. First of all, the greens at this place called the Wee Links at Disney was really nice, but.
Yeah, what's not the father-son that everyone listening that is like, oh, you played in the Tiger? And
Yeah,
no,
not the
Charlie and all
PNC.
that.
No, these are 8-year-olds and 4-year-olds and stuff. And the greens were turf. They were AstroTurf. And I said to him on the first putt, I said, Taylor, I think this is going to be
losing it over
fast.
here.
Oh my gosh, the ball flew off the grid.
Dan, alternate, a best ball, whatever. We're playing scramble. It's awesome. We got a 20-foot putt for birdie. We had a 30-foot putt for par. I come from a long line of good exaggerators. This is not
That
an
wasn't it.
exaggeration.
Right. That wasn't it.
We had a great 20-foot putt for birdie, and we had a 30-foot putt for par.
Yeah, we did. Well, and so it took us about 4 holes to make the
Yeah,
good.
Jay's being a little mean. It was like 3.5 holes.
3.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have fun with him though?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, we had a
even though he's
No,
blowing
first
it
off,
by
it was
30.
amazing. The best part is at the end, they announced Jay and Taylor Delsing, and I remember this. My mom goes, to this day, you forgot you were Taylor Delsing, so they're asking us to come up to get my certificate. I haven't told you this. My mom cleans the house. I'm going to say 6 months ago, sends me 2 boxes full of stuff. Taylor Delsing.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to see it.
Dude,
That is so good.
It may or may not have been used again, and I may have it in my. But it was honestly, Dan. This is the serious part. There was nothing better than playing golf with Uncle Jay because I grew up in a family. At 6 years old, I was looking at the newspaper to see where he finished.
See where Uncle Jay
I was
at.
all in.
Yep.
So
I followed him too all the time.
Right, but to be Taylor Delsing,
Yeah.
I represented my brother James. I represented Aunt Kim. I represented Count Jamie. I represented Uncle Bart because he didn't have a son. He hadn't had kids yet. And so it was, but all of us, that's all we did. I grew up in a family who was like, yeah, how'd Uncle Jay do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I knew the stories of Chief. I knew the stories of my dad, but they weren't playing. So in my childhood, Uncle Jay was a present athlete. He was competing. And then Tiger Woods showed up.
I was trying, baby. I was trying.
And I've looked up all the numbers. Like all my golfing buddies, like Jay doesn't get enough credit for
I
the
agree.
amount of longevity, the ability
That's
to
the
compete.
thing. The longevity to stay
Dude,
on
that
tour.
place is
Come on.
insane. Max Homa in 2018 made 18 grand.
I saw
was
that.
missing the cuts. Now he's king dingling.
I know.
It's the most humbling sport in the world. And so I think to do it for 20 some odd years, he always set an example. So did Chief, your dad, my grandpa, so did my dad. If I asked Uncle Jay, hey, how's this guy? Jay never told me the real truth of what he felt about someone else. Right? He would say, he's a great player, nice guy. He was a fan of Tiger Woods before Tiger. Jay was a custodian, is the word I would use, an ambassador of the game that set the tone and the standard by how I needed to do it and how I still do it to this day. Golf was bigger than Jay. Jay was never bigger than golf. And I can't believe I played in that tournament as Taylor Delsing.
How cool is that, though?
It's the coolest thing ever.
So now, though,
I can't believe how bad of a putter I was, man.
Well, here's the thing, though. Now you have made a name for yourself by what you did on the pitch and what you did with soccer and growing the game. And certainly from your hometown of St. Louis, you're one of the greatest athletes that's ever come out of St. Louis, being an MVP of the MLS. And now working and being the lead guy. You're the face of MLS soccer in many, many ways outside of what we see on the field. So how has that allowed you to get into doors, and I mean this sincerely, allowed you to go play places that normally in golf, because I know you love golf, that's why we wanted to have you on there, but people want to play with you. You're the guy, you wanted to play with Uncle Jay. Yeah. Now people are, man, I got a tee time at 2:00 with Taylor Twellman. This is going to be great, which is great about golf because it's a social event for guys that are hacks like me. But how does that, change your life and being able to get into the game of golf?
You never know who you're going to meet and what you're doing and who's watching.
Right.
My dad always raised me that way. No matter what you're doing, someone's watching you. Jay would be qualifying for the U.S. Open. I'm caddying. Someone would say hi. He would stop for 3 seconds and say hi to that person. Jay didn't know who that person was. He or she could have been whatever they were, but that's part of your quote-unquote ambassador.
Sure.
Golf for me has always been the most unique sport in the world because I loved being in a team environment. I loved the banter. I loved the shenanigans in the locker room. I love the essence of golf being you against nature, and it's literally 180 degrees different than anything, and it brought balance to my life. Golf, to your question, Dan, great question. Obviously, no surprise on who you are and what you do. Golf saved my life. So post-concussion and the way my career ended.
Let me interrupt you there. For people that don't know, tell them your story, too, about the concussions and how it affected your life, and then bring it back to golf.
So the concussion in 2008 that ended my career, but also changed my life forever, was August 30th, 2008. LA Galaxy were in town. David Beckham was there, so every female in my entire life was asking for 2 tickets, including my mom and sister. And by the way, they came, rightfully so. But I say that tongue-in-cheek because I had done something I had done with my eyes closed. Ball goes wide, whipped in. I'm going to out-jump you, score the goal. I did, but the goalie punched me in the face.
One of the most brutal collisions.
Oh, I've seen it. It's
any sport.
Nasty.
Agreed.
Anywhere.
Agreed.
You could call it a pitch. You could call it a field. You could call it a raceway. This was grotesque.
It was nasty. And so the next 6-8 weeks, my dumbass played, and that changed my life. I haven't worked out to this day. I'm going now on 12 years where I haven't worked out.
Really?
Going for a run. Nope, I can't. I'm very limited in certain things I can do.
So heart rate can't go up.
Yeah, certain
You were
things.
light sensitive. You had all those things.
I have and still have certain things to this day. Anyways, I was in a real dark place, to bring it back, and I needed the competitive juice, and I went to golf. And golf for me was 4 hours walk to get my exercise, cardiovascular stuff, turn the cell phone off, and just compete. And so when I started at that time, I was about a 3.5 to a 4 handicap, and it gave me a purpose. It gave me something to challenge myself.
That's awesome.
Right? And so that's where golf now has taken over my life.
It's addicting, too.
It's addicting because you could play the same course 300 times a year. You can have 300 different rounds, and I love that. Other sports are not. Other sports are 100%. Very similar. But to go back to your initial question, because of my background, Jay Delsing, the Delsing family, golf, baseball, because of my dad's family, the Twellman, soccer, baseball, I can kind of talk any sport, Dan. And you and I have had this conversation. I was the first person at ESPN they could go to for soccer, but they actually knew I could do something else. And so that got me into doors that have never been there for soccer people. But that's what my purpose is. My purpose is to get everyone else to open up their mind and go, guys, just because you're a soccer fan doesn't mean you're different. Now, we could have a fun conversation. Right. We are a little different. Soccer fans are a little different and fanatic in their own ways, but we're still the same people. We're still fans of our sport. but I can hit a golf ball 300 yards. I can talk to you about a 3-2 pitch with a man on second and third, and I can also talk to you about zone defense on football. I'm a sports guy that played soccer. The biggest problem with soccer, and for the listeners at home, soccer has always been a niche sport until the last 10 years. Now, all of a sudden, the Premier League, the World Cup, everyone's watching it whenever they want.
No question about it.
Now it's bringing in more eyeballs than we've ever had, and I still think it's a purpose for me to grow the game, and a lot of it comes on the golf course where a lot of soccer people want to walk 18 holes.
That's right.
And I don't care. It doesn't bother me. They want to talk soccer for 3.5 hours.
Taylor, the beauty of this game, if you break it down and on the PGA Tour, we are playing, you can get paired with Tiger Woods in a Pro-Am format, maybe the greatest of all time, and spend 4, 5, 6 hours with that guy on the field.
Yeah.
Per se, the golf course, it is unlike any other sport in terms of networking and in terms of your foundation, the great work you're doing with concussions and the awareness and for their youth and things like that. You can use the game of golf to enhance that program. You don't use football. You don't use basketball. You use golf. And I love that. And for me, so fortunate that my sport wound up golf. I wanted to be a baseball player.
Yep.
I didn't want to play golf. And I can't believe how lucky I got.
Yeah, I mean, and you should have wanted to play baseball. Chief was a hell of a baseball player. There was a notoriety to what he did and how he did it and how he carried himself post-playing.
By the way, I'm like around greatness here. MLS MVP, over 700 PGA Tour events, and
over 700? That's how many you played?
Yeah, over 700. I want to get your
bro.
attention.
Look at that.
Well, dude, those dogs are barking.
Man,
They are nasty, man.
That means over 700 times I was looking at the Post-Dispatch going, where'd he finish?
Guys, check this out. I hope you started at the top and not the bottom. But
Well, your dad, obviously, for people that don't know, but played the major leagues.
Right.
I mean, so the apple doesn't fall far.
How about this? We were trying to do something creative for my website a couple of years ago. My daughters, we're all sitting around and they're getting old enough, so may or may not have had a glass of wine or something. And they said, Dad, try to figure out how many miles you've walked.
Oh, that's
so we've actually had a pedometer put on us before, and you could try to figure it out by the length of the golf course. But
wouldn't you say on average about 6 miles?
So
no, it's between 7 and 10.
Yep.
Because what happens if you watch? We golfers are so strange. We get on the green, we'll circle every green like 3 times.
Hadn't thought about that.
It's so weird.
You and I, we walk 2.5 miles, buddy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
These knuckleheads, they've got a 6-foot putt. They walked around the green 4 times.
Oh, no.
I forgot about all that.
You know what it does, though, guys? It burns your energy off a little bit. It's just one of those things. The problem with golf is sometimes you like to be hit. When you're anxious or you're nervous, it would be like, let's shake. When I played basketball, the first foul I gave just got me going. I'm going to hammer somebody.
The first tackle, the first time I got kicked as a forward, I was like, good, I'm in the game.
I know, let's go. Golf, you're like shaking hands with, I want to beat you, I'm going to shake hands with you and talk to you about your family walking in the
I'm not.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's why you need a caddy with shin guards.
Yeah.
Taylor, I'm going to go back to you then for a second. So we mentioned the competition. It gives you at least some type of feeling of competition, whether you're going against the course or your buddy on the weekends for some
I'm
chuckles.
a degenerate gambler, and that came from the guy sitting on my right now. So
right here, dude.
We already talked.
I knew what an over and under was at 8.5.
I ordered the cheese pizza.
So did I. I can tell you that.
I know, that's why I'm looking at you when I said
St. Louis, what do you think? But what are the correlations, if there are any, outside of the competition that you find with soccer and golf, if any? Because in soccer, you're up and down the field. You're doing so many different things. You got to be in great shape. I'm not saying you don't have to be in great shape. Jay, you're in great shape. Let me look at you for God's sakes. So correlations between the sports.
Put down that 75-ounce.
Exactly.
It's actually a really good question because I didn't realize it until I just recently played in my first competitive thing with the LPGA.
Can't wait to talk about that, by the way.
It was amazing, by the way. But it was like I hadn't had that for almost 14 years. I hadn't had that.
Yeah.
Where now all of a sudden the whistle blew. Game on. I hadn't had that. When you're playing with your buddies and
you don't want to
gambling,
embarrass yourself.
Absolutely. You don't want, one, you don't want to embarrass, but two, Dan, you've gotten to know me. You're going to get like I literally teed off and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. Jay knows me well enough. I went for everything because
Sure.
I'm like, I didn't come to kiss my sister.
Right.
And I
Going
was
there
like,
to win it.
You didn't play as Taylor Delsing, though, did you?
I didn't.
Oh, good.
But I may have on the first couple holes. Greens are a little fast at Lake Nona.
Yeah,
But it was just, there was the mental aspect of both sports is very similar. For me, it was because I was a center forward. And so majority of the game, soccer-wise, you are thinking the game to try to get the center back marking you out of his game, right? You don't touch the ball a lot as a center forward. A midfielder's not thinking that. His or her job is running 6 to 9 miles a game, touching the ball, clean up. You're constantly in action. You really can't think. Center backs, but a center forward, the game's mental. So in an odd way, I got to revisit some of that.
And that's where I was going. Yeah.
Right. So and I remember this because I was playing really well. I was like, what? I think I was 1 under on the second day or even whatever it may be. That's not what it was. But then I started to think. And honestly, that was the part where I was like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Caddy handed me driver every hole. And I said, give me the hybrid. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, the hole's 330. I'd rather have a 90-yard shot in.
Absolutely.
We're fine. I don't need to try to drive the green. And that hole we birdied. And the reason why I'm telling you that story is that got my juices flowing again.
Yeah,
Right?
thinking the
it
game.
also got my juices flowing when I doubled. I hadn't doubled a hole in a long time. Now all of a sudden you're there.
How about that
You hit a ball, it plugs into the bunker, and you're like,
How about that internal sweat that you get, and all of a sudden your temp, you can feel your internal temperature go up, your heart rate's racing.
I thought I had COVID again.
I didn't exactly. I didn't hit a bad shot, and now I'm under the lip of the bunker. I can't find my ball.
Dan,
the
Jay
marshal
knows this
can't
story.
find my
This
ball.
is unbelievable.
I lost my ball. You're like,
285, par 4, dog leg to the right. I'm like, I'm going to hit a cut driver. I hit it. Caddy looks at me. Everyone at Brian Urlacher goes, that may be over the green. They can't find the ball. Now, I'm not blaming anyone. I hit driver.
Yeah.
No one had tried it because it's really, you got to hit a kind of banana, and Jay knows I'll hit a banana.
Yeah.
Can't find it. So I got to take the drop. We're across the line. We go up to the green. It's plugged into the green side bunker.
Yep.
15 feet from the hole. And I'm looking at it. And Urlacher goes, can we do a redo? I'm like, buddy, I already played the third shot.
Right. Exactly.
No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? But
Yep.
honestly, it was so humbling.
Yeah.
It was so much fun because I'm like, that's part of the game.
I can't imagine you guys at a Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving
Buddy.
dinner and the fights that go on at
you
the
think
old.
we're loud? I mean,
the Twellman Delsing combination
That's why we're
here.
loud. We got to talk over each other,
Holy
and we're
cow.
bad listeners, by the way. We're horrible listeners.
Often wrong, seldom in doubt, Dan.
Guys, stay put. Taylor Twellman is our guest in studio. And Taylor, I want to get into what you're doing with concussion prevention and awareness. It's incredible. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
I want to thank the Gateway section of the PGA again for supporting the Golf with Jay Delsing show. This is their third year of support. Over 300 men and women in our area supporting golf and making our golf experiences so much better. Through PGA Reach, PGA Hope, the Junior League, and the list goes on and on. These are just examples of programs and charitable aspects, different opportunities that our section supports and enhances in our community. Whether it's a driving range somewhere, your country club, or whatever it is, and it has to do with golf, our section and their members will have their hands in it and involved in it. Our professionals are there making the game better for everyone. We want to thank the Gateway section of St. Louis.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
You all know by now that Marcone is a fantastic community steward. From donating service dogs for our wounded heroes in need to supporting our men and women first responders through the Backstoppers. This year at the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic, Marcone will once again sponsor the military viewing deck on the 18th hole at Norwood Hills. This is a specifically designed area for our military, police and fire, and first responders. Marcone will have complimentary food and beverage as well as ample seating for our friends to watch some great PGA Tour Champions golf from a perfect vantage point. And did I mention that entrance into the Ascension Charity Classic the entire week is complimentary? That's right, it's completely free for our men and women in the military, police and fire, and first responders. Reach out to us at AscensionCharityClassic.com or me at j@jdelsinggolf.com for more information and tickets. It's Marcone, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management is a family-owned local business that's been helping our community for over 200 years. In the always confusing world of insurance, Powers Insurance provides clarity, exceptional service, and the latest in cutting-edge products to deliver the highest quality in property and casualty coverage, as well as strategic planning consultation services. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you. That's right, partner with you to customize the right coverage for you and your family. Tim Davis, the Chief Operations Officer, will personally sit down and talk you through the ins and outs of your policies. They are experts at helping you control your workplace expenses and helping to guarantee the safety of you and your employees and their needs. You can visit them at powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com for all of your insurance needs.
Let's continue on this Sunday morning. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. In studio with us, by the way, that's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's Taylor Twellman, five-time MLS All-Star and former MVP of the league. Okay, let's get right back into it. Taylor, is it fair to say that your life's mission now is to get the word out on concussion prevention and awareness?
Every morning I wake up, I wonder if it's still there. So yes, it is. It's there. I've done an unbelievable job. I will write a book because if you have post-concussion syndrome or you've had an awful concussion that changes your life, you will not commit suicide. We've got to change the tone of CTE. CTE is a real thing. It is science. It is not a myth. But there is a real misnomer right now that all of a sudden it goes from 0 to 100. And so my entire life's purpose now is to survive and thrive, but then tell that story so we cannot get rid of youth sports for kids. We cannot get rid of a lot of stuff that parents are being told because of what concussions do. Concussions are always going to be there.
They're always going to be there.
They always have been there.
Yep.
But we've got to get rid of the conversation about prevention and what does it do about rehabilitation. And I'm going to use my body and my life experience to be the vehicle that tells that.
It's great.
And if I do that, then I've done my life's work.
Taylor, how cool. Think about this. We grew up so similarly, spent all our time outside, always a ball, always some sort of game, something going on. And now you've had what you've had, both good and bad, very unpredictably. And you're changing and shifting this focus to such a, I don't want to overblow this, but this is such a noble, and this is life-changing. Let's just say life-changing, and it truly is. It's remarkable.
It is, Jay, but this is where I think for the listeners, they need to understand what I mean by growing up in a humble household. My father played against Pelé. My grandfather played with Joe DiMaggio. My uncle played with Tiger Woods. None of you three ever talked about it that way. You talked about enjoying the game, loving the game, and the most important thing that I will ever say about what you three did for me, respect the game. The game.
What about having fun?
And the fun part, like you see what I mean?
Kids. and
so just because and the reason why I'm using that story is, Dan, just because I got injured, you will never hear me say, stop playing sports.
Right.
We can change, we can evolve, we can use science to further enhance, because that's the purpose of it. But sports is an unbelievable vehicle for both men and women. And that's the other aspect of this that the listeners need to understand my purpose. I will touch more athletes with my concussion than any NFL player, because I got boys and girls playing mine.
It's a great point. I hadn't thought about that.
Wow,
That's a great
that's
point.
wonderful.
I played 4 LPGA rounds. What do you think all 4 girls talked about with me? Concussions in women's sports.
Or wanted a date.
No,
I mean, you're a handsome man. Let's
Wait
say,
a minute.
come on now.
Wait a
The only
second.
thing
Just ask Taylor. He'll tell you how handsome he is.
I will.
But they wanted to talk about that.
they did.
That's awesome.
Because you know what they did? They Googled my name. And I mean this. First
Yeah.
thing that comes up is what? Concussions.
Yeah.
And so I played with a Mexican girl, a Swedish girl, and then an American and a Thailand girl. And they all did it. Now, they also knew they could talk to me because they wanted, because I resonate with them, because I play a sport that's eerily similar to the men's and women's version of soccer. It's almost identical.
That's right.
It's not the NBA and WNBA.
Right.
Right? LPGA and PGA. I'll tell any amateur golfer, by the way, if you're listening, stop watching the PGA Tour, watch the LPGA.
I tell everyone
they're the
that.
best swings to emulate
No
if you're
question.
an amateur golfer.
So
No question.
technically sound. It's
Yes,
crazy.
and it's done in a way that it's very technical, so
Right.
you can kind of emulate it. Where if you watch John Rahm, dude, like hang it up.
Exactly.
You're not doing that.
No.
Like, you can't do that.
No.
So that was, I'm telling you, every single time I do something outside of soccer, concussions is brought up to me. And so I needed to accept that. I know you're going through something right now,
Yep.
Dan, where
Yep.
once you accept what it is and how to go about it, and you're transparent about it, you resonate with way more people. We're not perfect. We're all humans, right? And so I think people just resonate more on a human level when that happens, versus if I come in smiling all the time and fake it, which, by the way, I can do better than anyone. Thanks. You know what I mean? But truthfully, like, you got to be real. I was amazed that all 4 girls at some point during the 18 holes brought up concussions and how I think it can change women's football, as they would say, women's
Sure.
soccer, because that's a high occurrence of concussions right now.
Is
It's
there ever,
amazing. Think about it. I'm playing golf.
I'm going to go back to that in just a moment, your foundation, and I know we've got limited time with you, but has there been a time and you've been paired up with Brian Urlacher
Yeah.
or an LPGA great pro, whatever, and I'm talking to 2 guys that have played at the highest level, so it may be a dumb question where you go,
It's not dumb.
you stand over that first one and you're like, I'm a little nervous. I'm playing with Joe Blow or Susie Q that has got this huge resume. And I hate it with
You're
people.
going to laugh.
But when people play golf, they're always like, I don't want to play with it because I'm nervous. Who cares?
Oh, see, you literally just took the words
Who
out of my
cares?
mouth. I'm nervous when I play with my boys for the 16 to 24 guys that we have that are playing for
Exactly.
$100.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're not nervous, that means you're not enjoying it.
Don't
And you
play.
don't love it.
Don't
It
It
play.
means you don't love it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And I
100%.
And it's in caddying for Jay, and we're using golf as the conversation right now, and seeing Jay and how he dealt with that. Like, Jay doesn't know this at the time, but how impressionable I was at 18, because at 18 I was offered a professional baseball contract with the Kansas City
Royals.
and I was being told you need to go to Germany to be a pro soccer player.
And you go to
Here I
Maryland.
am caddying at Boone Valley.
Yeah.
And deep down, I was like, screw baseball and
Yes.
soccer. I kind of want to do this.
golf.
This is amazing. That's just the household I grew up in. But if you're not nervous, man, I'm nervous. Were you nervous every time you started calling a game before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd have
Why?
butterflies.
Because you love it.
Because I loved it.
And
it wasn't because I was worried about making a mistake. It's because I
No,
loved
and
it.
that's what people don't get about nerves and
It's the
anxiety.
excitement of it.
Because you love it.
Exactly.
And it also
Drug.
means something to you. It means something to you.
Bingo.
If you
Right.
didn't mean anything to the day I step on the first tee and I'm not nervous, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
No,
I don't want to play anymore.
Exactly, and it also means, and I got this inherently in my blood. It means you're competitive.
Exactly.
Oh, it means you are there to do one thing, and that is something. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what the hell you do. Either you got that or you don't.
Who's the guy on tour that you love to watch?
Oh, that's a great one. Honestly, because the new Netflix series is unbelievable. Have you guys watched
Just
it yet?
tell him about it.
I gotta
great.
puke a little bit on that.
Go ahead, puke
Because
on it. Which one?
Because it's a private jet. It's worth flying. I mean, come on. There's a lot of guys that are still on Southwest during their own stuff.
Hold on.
Let's educate him, will you please, Taylor? Your family, you can get away with it. I might get hit. Not everybody's a private jet.
And the
Jay.
PGA Tour is a little different than when Jay Delsing was flying to the Greater Milwaukee Open.
Bitter Bob over here. Come on, Bitter Bob.
So
Don't be
true.
that. Don't get off my lawn like that.
I just mean, gosh,
You
there's
sound
some
like
other
Chief did when
guys.
A-Rod signed for $300 million
It's true.
in the
It's
Texas
true a
Rangers.
little- it's
You
true a
remember
little
that?
bit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got to tell the listeners this. Chief Jim Delsing literally had to work a job in the winter.
Right.
And I am in high school, and A-Rod leaves the Seattle Mariners and signs with the Texas Rangers, and he's over at the house having God knows what kind of scotch in his 17th dinner that my mom made.
Yeah.
And he literally,
With a lot of
I'll
cookies.
never forget, it was the first real time I heard him cuss and use words I've never heard.
Because he's
And-
upset.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, though, I think if Chief was sitting here with us, he'd also go, it's kind of what all of us thought it was going to go and where it was
Exactly.
going to go.
Right.
But, I mean, that A-Rod deal was massive.
Right.
The
See-
Netflix thing, Justin and Jordan, they're on the
they're
private
on
jet
the front,
for a
like,
practice
I
round.
wonder if my feet are going to hurt in the morning. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm wondering if my clubs show up. You
But
know?
hold on now. Scotty Scheffler goes on the great run last year, but
Yep.
he wasn't part of the
No.
private jets and all the different things.
Yep.
I mean, and he's just a pretty.
Comes
pretty
across as
simple.
very simple. He
Yeah,
comes
very
across very
simple.
He's
simple.
still driving the old Burb
Yep.
around town back in Dallas.
I love golf because everyone goes about it in a different way, right? And I like that because there's individual ways. I do like Justin Thomas. There seems
Love
to
him.
be something where, like, if it's rainy and windy out, I kind of want him on my team because I
Exactly.
feel like he's not going to be bitching about it.
That's right.
And we'll get about it. I think John Rahm is a killer. You may not like him and root for him, but I'll tell you one thing.
He
if
is a
he's on your
killer.
team, he is out there
He
to
is a
literally
killer.
smash your brains in.
Yes.
And I love that.
I do
right?
too.
But I do respect the Scotty Scheffler. Like Scotty Scheffler, and if he and I were teammates, he probably wouldn't like me because every other word's the F word, and I'm going out having
You'd
some
wear
beers.
him
Right. Yeah, you
I think
did.
Scotty
yeah.
Scheffler would go, you know what? I'm good, Taylor. We'll
Yeah.
see you. We'd be good teammates, but
You
everything
would.
else, he'd be
If
like,
you
I don't
guys
wanna
were
hang
on
out
the
with you.
on the jet together and you were to his right, he'd have a right ear full of cotton. He'd be like, "I've had enough, Taylor, right now."
He'd be like the banter, the whole thing, like
Stop.
nothing. Like it's
Stop. Yeah.
I just love golf because I feel for like the NFL players because you don't see their faces, you don't see any of the personality.
That's because they're in agony half the time too.
Fair enough.
You know?
Fair enough. But
Yeah,
I do
have you
love
ever-
the golf part of that.
You know, it's kind of an odd question for you too because you're playing at the highest level. The speed is just incredible. I always tell everybody, you watch a game on television. I don't care if it's baseball, if it's golf with a swing, the swing, the speed of the club, soccer, obviously in your case, in football. And when I did football, I equated being down on the sideline and doing these games. It's like watching a car wreck every single
It's literally
play.
a car crash every time.
Yes. It's crazy that these
they're
guys get up.
gladiators.
They are.
But
they're
to answer
true.
your question, there was a real fanboy moment for me in Argentina.
Yeah, that's right.
Copa America. And I'm walking out. And so the coach before the game says to me, Bob Bradley at the time, and Bob looks at me and he goes, in Bob Bradley's way, which I loved, which was always stoic and very serious, you're going to play in the midfield. Now, for anyone listening, I mean, I don't know how to pass the ball. All I know how to do is score.
Right.
I was like, midfield. What kind of game are we getting
Yeah.
into?
Yeah.
And I looked to my right. It's Messi, Riquelme, Verón,
Awesome.
Crespo. It's their A team.
Unbelievable.
That's
And
awesome.
it's me sitting there, right? And I'm like, what the hell? And for those of you not listening that don't know soccer, there's a guy by the name of Juan Riquelme.
Yep.
Unbelievable. He played the entire first half against us with his shoes untied. That, you want to talk about
That's beautiful.
looking at us going,
Yeah.
and he was the guy that told Sir Alex Ferguson to go F him. It didn't matter who he was. He was that guy. But that was my first taste of Messi in person.
Teal, the equivalent to that would be going out on the golf course and leaving out like your 3, 5, 7,
Exactly.
and 9 because my bag was
Because
too
it
heavy.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to still beat you.
And you're going down.
Do you know my man here has 20 holes in one?
Yeah.
And he's only so take two clubs, right, Jay, that you have not had a hole in one with.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guess them?
Driver.
Yep.
And one is very simple.
Yeah, I don't probably putter.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you're weird. I had to think about that because there's part of me that thinks Jay probably played a hole.
No
that was
question
98
about it.
yards and goes first putt.
I got to try to get a putter in there.
I would have done that.
No, the coolest experience for me in this world of what I do now is I got to play TPC Scottsdale, and I went and played with, it was like a bunch of the caddies that are regularly on tour, and the
That's
sign's
fun.
up there.
Yeah.
And every broadcast, Jay knows this because I tweet it every single time it's up there because I bring it and I tell CBS.
I almost have 2,000 followers now because you tweet for me.
I do. But it's like so cool to see that because that was way before that was a stadium.
Okay,
That
so
was
I got to
way
tell you this
before
story.
that.
So I'm standing on the 16th tee, and it's, I don't know what, early 90s, whatever. And I'll never forget this. I got my ball teed up, and I'm walking into the shop.
Yep.
And I hear some guy behind me go, "Who the is this guy?" And his friend goes, "I have no clue, but I'll bet you $5 he misses the green." And you know, the way that I grew up, the way I grew up, that's the way we played.
Yes.
We were talking while you're
trash.
swinging, didn't care.
Yep.
I'm like, this is my element.
Oh, no doubt.
I wouldn't mind if the whole game was like
you
this.
actually wish it was a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So I hit this shot. It goes in the hole. I turn around to try to find these two guys, and I just get doused with beer. And I'm like, well, let's just enjoy it. But there's a car on the tee. My caddy says to me, "Dude, you want a car?" And I said, he goes, "Can I have it?" I go, "Hell no, you can't have it. Just carry the bag." And that's why we had the caddy races, right? I'm like, and don't hurt yourself because I don't want to have to carry my bag the last 2 holes. And he's like, "Oh, thanks a lot." So as we're walking by, the car's facing the way we are. So get to the front windshield, look back, and there's a little placard on the windshield that says Sunday only. And this was Saturday. PGA Tour was back then. Damn, I am bitter. I'm old, I'm crabby, and bitter now.
I tell you what, this is like therapy for you, my man.
I know. I think I lost
getting a
about
lot of
20
stuff.
pounds
I'm
today.
telling you, you
This
get a lot
is
of things
Honestly,
off your
though,
chest.
how good is that golf tournament for the sport?
It's great.
good.
Jay, I think you would get way more people following the
totally
game
agree.
if it was like that.
Even in the Netflix series or whatever,
Yes.
they talked about how they need to make more of the events fan friendly is the right word, but more fan engagement. Let them be, let them boo, let them cheer,
Agreed.
let them go crazy.
Wait,
let
think
them
about
have
it, though,
fun with
guys.
it.
Agreed.
You're
Yeah.
standing outside in a 400 to 500 acre
Right.
plot of land. Why be quiet?
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost unnatural.
It is unnatural.
Just go. Let them go.
I'm so glad
Listen, the other thing, sorry.
No.
But if you had all of the noise going on all the time, the players they'd adapt in 10 seconds.
for sure they would.
It's the quiet to the noise to the quiet to the noise.
You would also resonate with the younger sports
Absolutely.
fan.
Exactly.
Right? It wouldn't
Absolutely.
become as exclusive of a fan base.
That's right.
Another good Jay Delson story real quick. I played Oakmont, top 3 favorite
Love
places
that
I've
place.
ever played.
I played it multiple times. I
And
love it.
I just love it because I
Yep.
feel like I'm actually at Norwood Hills.
Exactly.
Just in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
A little bit
Except
more
Jay
hilly.
tells me they took down 7,000 trees than when you played, right? But it was awesome.
did.
I'm going through the locker room and I'm with some real important people. And I'm not saying that to name drop, just so people understand where I am. Real important people in the soccer world. And you're talking multi-billionaires that are owning teams, getting it, but they all love golf. And there's my man Jay Delsing in the thing. So I take a
love
picture of it and I tell everybody, that's my uncle. They don't believe it. So I send it to the Delsing family and Jay responds right away. And they're like, wait a minute, that's your uncle? It's because I didn't tell them the story. I wanted them to see me hit a golf ball
Sure.
first. And then I could be like, guys, I literally grew up at Norwood Hills.
Right.
Like I should hit a golf ball. But you realize what the tour was back then.
Yep.
And then all of us stand on the outside, listen to what the tour is now ever since the great Milwaukee Open when Tiger Woods showed up. Like it's unbelievable.
Best thing that ever happened to golf.
Absolutely.
Best thing-
But I think the best thing now without Tiger would be to make
Fans.
it more like the TPC Sky. It's kind of
Yep.
what Liv wants it to be.
Right.
Without any of the real history and the players.
That's
But
right.
I watched that tournament, Jay, and I'm thinking, normal,
Why aren't we doing this at other places?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Normal people that love sports would go, this is actually fun.
I actually, in watching that, was thinking when you saw the stands, the grandstands around, what is it,
16, yep.
and I'm thinking, why?
17.
17.
I was thinking, like in 10 or 15 years, maybe it's 20 years, we're going to look back 20 years from then and say, why weren't we doing this earlier?
Well, the
why
entire
would we,
back
why
nine.
would we do this?
You're going to start seeing this spread is because 16 started and there was so much reticence in the golf community. Like, can we do this? Can we do? it's sold out for 2.5 years, guys. I've had companies call and say, hey, can you get me a ticket? I go, guys, it's sold out for 2.5 years. You can't even sniff.
Yep.
You just got to get in line.
But we're going to look back and go, what the hell are we thinking?
Right.
But here's the one thing that I think the golf fan is still asking the question. I don't know about you guys. Primetime golf is unbelievable when I'm living in Boston.
Yes.
And that tournament's at Pebble Beach, and that tournament's what that does. And I've had TV executives tell me, if you build the stadium the way you do, guess what the back nine is? Under lights.
I've had
now you have primetime. Like,
how about that?
It
Well,
would be,
do you remember Monday Night Golf?
Yes.
Yes.
So why not use that model, but yet expand it for a tournament?
Yep.
See, I'm all about that. And I'm all about making sure, and I know Jay and I have had gone back and forth with this, but I don't care that they say that they've got to go off one at night, one in the morning. Nope. I'm trying to sell my product. My product means if Tiger Woods is playing, he's in prime time.
Absolutely.
I don't care what he's doing. I don't care what he's shooting.
You don't think ESPN and NBC are saying the same thing right now with Riviera? They're like, what do you mean? He's got tee off at 7:24 in the
so
morning.
stupid.
No.
So stupid.
What are you talking about? LeBron doesn't play a game at noon.
Bingo.
Right.
So why would we do that in this sport?
Why is Barcelona's games when Messi was on
There you
at
go.
10 p.m. at night? They go, well, it's the Spanish culture. No, it's because China was paying you $4 billion
Yeah.
a year to watch Messi when you're not sleeping.
And the other thing is,
This isn't hard.
be a true partner. Like, be a true partner to your TV product.
That's the other thing. Like, if I was a TV person, I'd be like, to Mr. Monahan, I'd be like, hey, bud, like, we're not asking you to revolutionize the sport, but we are asking for simple things.
Here's the only problem on the Thursday, Friday, guys, is they do the early, late thing. That's the only problem, but I agree with you. I totally agree with you because they're trying to do it for equity purposes. You play one morning round
But if
and
you
one
have Tiger
afternoon
Woods coming back and you're putting him at 7:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
Tiger's the only one that trumps everything that we just talked about, right?
100%.
Because, I mean, I love them. I think they're
I
great
do
golfers,
too.
but no one watches Rory the way they watch Tiger.
No.
So it is what it is. So guess what you do? You compensate for him.
Yeah.
He's on one leg, for God's sake. So compensate for it and figure
Totally
it out.
agree.
But that golf tournament in Scottsdale, and I love Scottsdale. I go there all the time. There's something there as a sports fan where I'm like, you can evolve golf. You can evolve and
Evolve
use
is
this
the
as
best
the
word to
vehicle.
use. Yep.
And you're going to grow the game by evolving and resonating with your son that only watches YouTube for highlight clips and Dude Perfect and all these things that are now transforming how we watch our sports in the media world. Golf would resonate with that because I had a lot of non-golf fans text me watching that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's perfect timing because it's right before the Super Bowl that day. But there's an experience. There's 250,000 people there and enjoying themselves
right.
in great sunshine.
At a golf tournament.
Right.
250. Here's the problem, guys. We are so stayed in our thinking and so slow to change and trying to juggle, in my opinion, too much of the history and
Baseball's eerily similar, Jay,
honor
on this.
that.
Yep.
And golf is, Taylor, I believe golf is even slower. Our management, in Jacksonville, we're too reactive. We are not out in front of anything.
Agreed.
And it's irritated me. I was on the Player Advisory Council more than half of my career, and I said, you guys, we need to think forward.
Yep.
Quit think. I love Ben Hogan.
Right.
That's over now, though.
Agreed.
Let's think forward. How can we get in front of this? Do we want to play music? Let them play music if that's going to bring a younger crowd in. But it doesn't have to, just...
Well, you said it perfectly
You're not saying
earlier.
play 9 holes. You're not saying
Right.
different things. You're just saying let's change a little bit to grow it.
And you don't think that these guys have grown up with noise around them and music and playing and guys
if
messing
they're
with
on
it?
their
Come on.
iPods, they're doing the whole
I
thing.
loved watching John Rahm give it back to the fans.
It's great. It's
Wait a
great.
minute, how much fun is that, though? As a golfer, we were taught you don't even do that. Like, we were told the PGA Tour didn't want us to even interact with the fans. I made a hole in one and threw my ball, and I got a letter.
Right.
That's crazy.
don't
But
throw
how
your
many,
ball- I'm
in all
like-
seriousness, how many other sports can you buy a ticket and literally walk next to them?
I know.
Well, here's the thing that I've always said.
Think about that.
Access is key, right? So I want to hear when Taylor is sitting next to his caddy and your particular event is
That
going
Tom
on.
Kim experience was unbelievable
Exactly.
television.
So
How about that? And he hits it in there about 4 feet.
we're willing to send a reporter down during the Indy 500 where some guy's going to be going 200 miles an hour and asking him about his day before he's going pedal to the metal, literally, in 5 minutes. And
with his life on the line.
His life is on the line, but we can't go and ask.
No, Max Homa doing the interview in the round with
How great was that?
great.
Guys, they have been doing this. They have been approaching us for 25 years, and the players have been.
I had someone at ESPN say in 1993, they came to the PGA Tour with basically what
These
Max Homa
ideas
just did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
Which they should have done.
Granted, it wouldn't have been AirPods. It would have been different, because technology you couldn't. But like the access, first off, you're walking.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say, especially when you tee off.
Right.
You know, and you're selective on who you're going to ask.
Absolutely,
and
but
you're
it's
selective
like, dude,
with
you're selective who you ask baseball questions to, because you know
For
who
sure.
you're going to get an answer from and who you won't.
But I also mean in the competition.
Yeah,
So if some
I
guy
agree.
pipes it and he's down the middle, I'm not going to go to the guy that's in the
Yes.
bunker on the left. I understand. He's probably strategizing.
Right.
He's thinking all that kind of stuff, although I'd love to do it. But I want to go to that guy that just hit it 330 and
Absolutely.
say, you know, what are you thinking on this shot? Why are you doing that? Okay, what's the conversation? Boom, done. Takes you 45 seconds. He's still not even to his ball.
That's where I'm really curious now that Netflix and that series is out for more than 4 or 5 days now, and probably the listeners, when they listen to this, they've already seen all the episodes. What does that do? Because it single-handedly changed Formula One.
Yes.
Netflix single-handedly changed Formula One for ESPN. Their ratings were 1,000% greater. Like, everything went through the roof. I'm curious what this does. It's interesting, though, because it's the same time that Live and PGA Tour break up. So I don't know what it does. But access, most important word you used, Dan, that's the one where more people want it with golfers.
You have been incredibly kind with your time. So I want to make sure we get this out, and then we'll wrap it up. But in terms of your foundation, tell people where they go, how they donate, how they find out, how can they read up on it, all the different things that you're doing with it.
Yep, thinktaylor.org. It is basically a non-for-profit that we are setting the standard for education and awareness. I wrote a Think Taylor pledge. My whole goal with it is that every person takes ownership of their own brain, not a parent, not a teacher, not a coach. Each individual does. And we've had over 7 million kids take the pledge. This year, we're probably going to have 10 million because MLS is now going to get heavily involved. And all I'm saying to anyone, take ownership of your brain and start asking real questions, but don't stop playing sports, because sports are important.
It's phenomenal.
Just so you know, because I know you guys are hinging on how many miles I walked about when we talked about 3 hours ago. It was 70,000 as we stopped.
70,000.
70,000. That's why I can't even waddle to the refrigerator.
His toes like scratching my leg right now because it's like 20 feet away.
It looks like a mangled turkey with those toes.
God, that's brutal.
Is that a bunion?
I need a sock.
No, that's not.
I need to wear socks.
Taylor, thank you. It's
Thanks,
awesome.
boys. This was fun.
Thanks again, Taylor. Great having you in studio. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Much more to come. Remember, Golf with Jay Delsing now on 101 ESPN is from 8 to 10. We continue in just a moment. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing, and we golfers are always looking for ways to improve our games. For me, that means I want the very best and the very latest in equipment and in technology. The place for me is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened Pro-Am Golf Center in 1975, and ever since then, he and his family have provided St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and the latest in the ever-changing world of golf technology. Whether you are a scratch golfer looking to find the latest in rangefinders or a newcomer looking to find your first set of clubs, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. You say you're looking to get yourself custom fitted for a new set of clubs? You need to call TJ. He has fit me personally, and he is the best in town. If you mention my name, CJ will take 50% off the already low fitting price. So if you need anything from golf balls to a new pair of shoes or a lesson from Tom, who, by the way, has been helping St. Louisans play better golf for over 45 years, Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood is the place for you. You can also visit them at proamusa.com. That's Pro-Am Golf.
This is Dan McLaughlin. I hope you'll join me for a special night in St. Louis. It's called Hooray for Hollywolf, a benefit on Saturday, September 30th at the Sheraton Westport Hotel. We'll celebrate 25 years of Champ Assistance Dogs. Champ Assistance Dogs utilize the love and healing power of dogs to improve the lives of people in our community. This night will feature a silent and live auction, dinner, and a Champ Runway show featuring assistance dogs, therapy dogs, and local celebrities. Find out more at champdogs.org.
Hi, this is Nick Ragone from the Ascension Charity Classic. And you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our Back Nine Bar and Grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
Redbird Heating and Cooling sponsors the Veterans Vocational Apprenticeship Program. Jed, the CEO and former Marine, will teach, mentor, and sign off on educational and mechanical work hours to help you get fully licensed while you work and get paid by the company. What a great way to launch your career as a fully licensed HVAC specialist. Visit redbirdhvac.com. That's Redbird Heating and Cooling.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return.
Woo, I got to catch my breath after that visit with Taylor Twellman. Welcome back. It's Golf with Jay Delsing. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And I'm glad I don't have to be at your house for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Put it
Danny,
that way.
There's so many words in the air when we all get together, and the volume just keeps going up and up. And he's so much fun, man. He is so much fun. I got to tell you, watching that one of the last games he played when he got that concussion with the keeper for, I think it was the LA Galaxy, came out and hit him with the fist under his eye, and he actually wound up with a concussion, but wound up with whiplash that was kind of misdiagnosed, and so it's just crazy. It's just crazy how that all played out.
To his credit, though, taking something negative and very negative, ending his career and turning this into, as much as he can, a positive to help so many people. You know, concussions now and the protocols that go into it for anybody that's watched college football, NFL on Thursday night, you know, the concussion protocol is there.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily there when he was playing. I mean, It was an idea that, you've got a concussion. But now they've done so much, and he's done so much to further the cause for prevention and awareness of concussions.
Danny, so much. The Think Taylor Pledge and the Think Taylor Foundation is amazing. And you know what? Think about this, D, because this was us. We were in 6th, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 8th, heading balls. There's no reason for you to be able to use your head when you're that young. It's not important in the game. Right, you can be taught that if you advance with these little baby, brains that are being developed, and there's no reason that's important at that stage.
One of the things we talked about that I loved was how would you make the game better? The presentation, specifically on TV. I just wish we had more access. I don't know from a player's perspective if you would like that, but I know from a viewer's perspective, I'd love to hear, like today at the Ascension Charity Classic, I'd love to hear you and Pearlie talking about, okay, I'm 180. What are you thinking? Wynn's doing this. Pin is here. I like this club. No, I like this club. This is why we're going to do it. Yep. And then have the conviction to hit that club. But I'd love to hear the interaction between you two and have that not just with you and Pearlie, but anybody that's on the course, and just listen to how they go about their business.
Yeah, no. So, Danny, when I was with Fox, we were told to lay out whenever they called it TV gold. Whenever the player and caddy were talking, just stop talking.
Sure.
Just try to get it in there.
Microphones were there to pick up some,
but not great.
Right.
Not great. And when you get a guy like Jordan Spieth and Michael Greller, Greller at the end of the day, he's got to soak his head in a bucket of ice. There is so much that he deals with. And Jordan, and look, that's the way Jordan plays. And I love Jordan Spieth. Besides that, he's a hell of a human being. But he's so vocal with everything, and it's to the nth degree, and asking all these questions. And in fact, I'll never forget, he won the U.S. Open out at Chambers Bay, and that was the first event that I had ever done ever in TV, and the first event Fox Golf had done. And I have him, and I don't know if it was the third day or what, Danny, but he had what to me was the most plain vanilla shot you could have. It was like 86 yards, dead flat lie, perfect lie, easy accessible pin. He reeled off 6 or 8 questions to Greller, and I'm thinking, what do we have to think about here?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I see the pin. That's what I'm thinking. But clearly, he and Greller have this thing sussed out. But man, when he talks, everybody listens.
So you were part of the Player Advisory Council, as we talked about there with Taylor.
Yep.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall with some of those conversations back in the day. How many players were on that, and what was the general topics of conversation, or did it just ran the gamut on all those?
No, we would have an agenda each week, each meeting period. I think we met every couple months, Danny. I was on those things for probably 18 of my years of my career. And you'd run through different situations. I can remember one time sitting in a meeting, and Lanny Watkins was in there, and Lanny wanted to, this is when he was in the height of his playing great, and said, I think we should just have 30 people playing each week, and I was like, well,
the heck with that.
I'll just sit over here.
Right.
Yeah, what the? I mean, but everybody else in the room felt the same way, like 30 players. So we would deal with a lot of different opinions. Initially, it started with Dean Beeman. And so this is the way Dean ran a meeting. He plowed right over you. He didn't know your name. He told you what was going to happen. And this is what's happening. We just walked out going, oh, okay. I'm 20. I think I didn't get on there till I was like 25 or 26, but I don't know enough about the PGA Tour, Danny. So I'm going in there I'm all ears, man. I'm not going to say much. But then after, year 10, I'm on there with, now we got Tim Fincham, who, Danny, this is how Tim Fincham ran his meeting. He was a master politician, knew my name, had no idea what I was about or anything, knew everybody's name, knew your name. Hey, Danny, how's your wife, Libby? Everybody good? Your kids good? All that, and to kind of make you feel warm and fuzzy, but at the end of the day would turn around and, it'd be out. And so it was an entirely different environment. And I'll never forget, we sat in there and we had to vote on whether or not we should do these World Golf Championships. And I was all for the players getting together, the best players in the world playing together and all that. But I said, what are we going to do about access? And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, well, take, for example, some kid from Italy, we'll just say Italy because the Ryder Cup's going to be there, comes in and gets in there and wins that tournament. He suddenly got access to the PGA Tour. Don't worry about any of that. Well, Danny, that happened. I mean, there were the interesting thing is this kid could have been a stud college player that got in from some little small tournament on the European Tour and got enough points where a U.S. kid wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Sure.
And then back then, we didn't have the Korn Ferry roaring like it was and being such the developmental tour. It was called the Nike Tour at the time, and it was okay, but it wasn't like it didn't initially start that the top 25 guys from the Nike Tour got PGA Tour cards. It started with 5. And then it went to 10, and then and once we got some data, we realized that the guys that played a full year on the Nike Tour came onto the PGA Tour and performed much better than the kids that made it through the Q School. But without the Q School, you had no access to get your card back or any, those other things, because I kept my card for 19 years in a row, but not from the one. Sometimes I fell out of the 125, went back to the Q School and got it back. And I had a great record at the Q School somehow, which is the most pressure-packed golf you could play.
Be pressure.
Yeah, that's why I look as old as I do. That's wrinkled and gray, man. But we voted on that, and I said, guys, you're going to have a problem with access. People are going to be able to beat the system and come right onto the PGA Tour, and I don't think you want that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. We don't have a great track record, Danny. The PGA Tour doesn't. That is of being have much insight into things. We're too reactionary, and the live thing showed that again to me.
You bring up a final point in this segment. You were talking about with Taylor have some music, have it lighten up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that Live has exposed. It's kind of like the XFL. They showed some different ways to do football, and the NFL took a few of those things and said, we like it.
Right.
Live has kind of done that too with the music, the team format,
Yep.
some of that stuff that happens.
I think the team format done right can be really fun.
I agree.
I think it can. I think there's a lot of different forums, Danny, that you can mix that and have some fun with it, and also make it super entertaining with some night golf and something like that. There's a real possibility. I'm extremely interested in the Rory and the Tiger enterprise that's going on. I forget, is it called TLR?
I can't remember either, but
it's coming. And Arthur Blank, the owner of the
Atlanta Falcons,
just bought a franchise, as did the former MVP in the NBA that plays at Milwaukee. And I'll let you pronounce his name. It's an African name, but he is an absolute freak. He just bought.
I just say Giannis.
Yeah, it's Giannis. It's and the guy's a stud.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's a 7-foot point guard.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a reincarnation of Magic Johnson. But yeah, so I do think there's you need to do that right though, and trying to do it the way Liv has done it, where the players are the owners and can trade, and I think it's just not developed. I think the concept is there, but I don't like their names, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're like the Vipers and things like that.
Or
whatever it is,
range goats or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Jay Delsing, Dan McLaughlin. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Doherty Business Solutions. Speaking of teams, Luke Donald named the European Ryder Cup this past week. We'll go through some of the biggest names in golf when we come back. It's Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open, the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Doherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Doherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Doherty Business Solutions.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. You'll see the latest in equipment, find the latest innovations in golf, and get tips from a PGA professional. That's jdelsinggolf.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient? It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
I'd like to welcome I Promise to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. What is I Promise, you ask? It's a St. Louis-based company with the most clinically backed eye health performance supplement brand with over 20 years of eye health expertise and nutrition science. It's all natural, and their cutting-edge science and technology has helped I Promise forge many exciting new golf partnerships, like with the PGA of America, the Titleist Performance Institute, the Ledbetter Academy, and many more. Perhaps the most exciting component for me is that all of this new improvement is measurable. I can tell you that in my case, my initial score was around 0.25, and after taking the I Promise product for 2+ months, my score soared to almost 0.60. It had more than doubled. I can now read the greens better because I'm not really dealing with as much glare and trying to manage that, and I squint much less when I'm playing golf. And you don't have to take it from me. Check out what Padraig Harrington has to say about this product. He is playing some of the best golf of his career in his early 50s, and he swears I Promise has helped improve his short game. Check out I Promise. That's I Promise, the company helping us to see better, play better, and live better. Visit them at ipromise.com.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
Golf with Jay Delsing rolls on this Sunday morning on 101 ESPN. Again, a reminder, we've expanded the show from 8 to 10 as we close in on the 10 o'clock hour, and Jay will be competing in the final day of the Ascension Charity Classic. We'll get to some of that like we did in the first segment of our show as we head down the stretch. Former Texas Tech star Ludwig Aberg will play for Europe in the upcoming Ryder Cup. It's less than 4 months after he turned pro. He's from Sweden. He was one of the European captain Luke Donald's 6 captain's picks. They were announced on Monday. Also chose Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Sepp Straka, Shane Lowry, and Nikolai Hogard. However you want to pronounce it, I'll leave that up to you.
I thought
Take it any way you want.
I love the fact that you were the first guy down the path on that one. I'm not sure how the hell to do it, but I don't think you can do it wrong because there's way too many vowels and G's right next to each other there.
What'd you think of the picks?
I thought it was interesting. I feel like Captain Donald did almost the exact opposite of what Captain Johnson did. And he went very much so for his 2 last picks. I think the other guys were pretty much a shoe-in, Danny. Sepp Straka's had a great year, won the John Deere Classic, also finished second in the Open Championship. Tyrrell Hatton's been a baller. And between, Danny, I don't know who we've made more money on betting on this year between Matt Fitzpatrick or Tyrrell Hatton.
A lot on those two guys.
Oh, my gosh, those guys have been rock stars. But you know, when you think of Sepp Straka, we already thought he was going to be on. Justin Rose was a shoo-in.
Yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood, no question about it. You think about Aberg and Højgaard, and you just go, they're basically the top 2 players playing the best in the world, not named Victor Hovland right now.
You can make a case that their top 5 are the top 5 in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even top 6. I mean, that's how stacked this team is going into the Ryder Cup.
I agree. And, you know, it's interesting, D, because they're missing Garcia no more. Poulter, Poulter has been a thorn in the U.S. side for the last 20 years or so. He's gone. We're missing Lee Westwood from their side, but also Paul Casey. And Paul Casey has been a stalwart, and so he will be missed. But there's 4 rookies on each team, I believe, rookies in the Ryder Cup. And it's going to really come down to who performs well. And it's this golf course just outside of Rome, Danny. It favors the Euros in a lot of different ways. First of all, Luke has a say in how it's set up. So there's one. Second of all, every one of these guys on their team has played it 5 or 10 times more than U.S. players have played it. So,
Marco Simone Golf and Country Club outside of Rome.
Yeah, and so that's an advantage all to itself. We do know that this week we're missing Steve Stricker, Jim Furyk, Davis Love from the Ascension Charity Classic because they're in Rome playing the golf course right now.
Just getting ready, getting some of the nooks and crannies.
They're going to get a bunch of, just get out there and play. Let's get a bunch of rounds in. Let's get comfortable with it. Let's make sure we know what it's like. You know, some places you go, and I don't expect that to be in Rome, but like when you go to say Pinehurst, for example, Danny, and you go down there, there's sand all over the place. And I'm not talking only in the bunkers. It's sandy lies. It's so you really get a mindset for, I need to play a lot of these little clipped shots off the sand. And we saw that Martin Keimer won the U.S. Open down there by putting a lot of those things. So that's the first thing the players are going to look for. Is there something unusual about this course in Rome? And I bet you a lot of the players have never even played in Italy before, D.
The Europeans have won now the past 6 Ryder Cups outside the United States. Why do you think that is? There's been so much success for them outside the U.S., and let's face it, the Euros are, by anything that you read or if you listen to anybody, they're heavily favored going into this Ryder Cup.
Yeah, it's very interesting because typically they say the U.S. team is favored. I'm not buying any sort of favorite. If anything, I would say the Euros are favored slightly. These are two action-packed, star-studded teams. It's going to come down to who makes the most putts. It really is. And somewhere along, Danny, somewhere along the line on Sunday, while they're going mano a mano and playing head-to-head, we're going to see all sorts of swings and blue flags up one side and red, white, coming up the other side. It's going to be really, really interesting.
Can you imagine how it is for Alberg? He's the 2-time winner of the Ben Hogan Award as college golf's best player, was #1 ranked amateur in the world, but the first Ryder Cup participant to play and to never play in a major. Can you imagine the pressure of that?
No, I can't. And
first time ever.
He just finished winning the Omega Masters, and I don't know. He closes 66-64. The kid is absolute a player.
So he's going with the hot hand. Luke Donald's taking the hot hand here.
Absolutely. And there's a double whammy for him because he's also a young guy. So let's get this guy indoctrinated. This sweet indoctrinated. You're going to have Victor Hovland from Norway. He's going to be on these teams for I don't know how long. And look at the different countries represented in golf now, Danny. You get Sepp Straka. You got Shane Lowry from Ireland. Sepp Straka's from I'll find it, but Højgaard's from Denmark. You get Tommy Fleetwood's from England.
Sepp Straka is from Austria.
Austria, that's right, Austria. And so you've got a hell of a lot of.
You get England's Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose. Yep. Austria's Sepp Straka. Ireland's Shane Lowry. Denmark is Højgaard. So you're getting guys from all over the place.
And you got Ramer from Spain. You got Roy from Northern Ireland. You got, and so it's and Hovland from Norway. It's really, really super cool.
I've asked you this before, but what is it about this that makes it just so incredibly cool? Because I get into it as the average fan. I mean, you can't pry me away from my sofa when this is on. But why is it so cool?
I don't know. I mean, I think back in the day, the history of this thing, were blowouts. The U.S. just dominated this thing, and nobody cared about it.
Yeah.
The players barely cared about it. And then once we invited all of Europe to play, so Seve got to play, and Olazabal got to play, and Bernard Langer got to play, it made this thing super competitive. And then as soon as we started losing, people got interested.
Yeah. It's
almost like the old America's Cup. Remember when we won that all the time, and then all of a sudden we lost, and people like, well, no, why weren't we winning? And it's different. But, Danny, it just shows you how evenly spread out the talent is across the world. It just really does.
We're going to talk a little bit more as we wrap up the show about the Ascension Charity Classic, which wraps up today. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. If you'd like to reach Jay at jdelsinggolf.com for emails and also to get free golf balls. So we're going to do that when we come back. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Delsing here, and my show Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions, can be heard every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 right here on 101 ESPN. It's the biggest names in golf, tips for your game, your local golf scene, the LPGA, and much more. You can reach me at jdelsinggolf.com to enter to win a free dozen TP5 golf balls we give away each week. It's Golf with Jay Delsing every Sunday morning from 8 to 10.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
I want to welcome Redbird Heating and Cooling to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. You can reach them at 314-320-9507 or on the website redbirdhvac.com. CEOs Jed Dickinson and Jerry Pearson run the area's most responsive and dedicated heating and cooling company that's been conscientiously supporting the St. Louis area for the last decade. Just last month, when my air conditioner stopped working, Jed and his team were at my home at 7 a.m. to replace one unit and then repair the other. Your money, like it's our money, was Jed's statement to me, and the repairs for Unit 2 was less than $200. If you want to work with a family-owned business that you can trust, then call 314-320-9507 or visit them at redbirdhvac.com. That's redbirdhvac.com.
This is Dan McLaughlin, inviting you to the 21st Annual Dan McLaughlin Golf Tournament to benefit the Special Education Foundation. This tournament has raised over $5 million, and 100% of the money raised has gone to children with special needs in our community. To sponsor, volunteer, or to play in the event on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club, please visit sef-stl.org. I'll see you on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing on 101 ESPN. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Jay Delsing. A reminder, we started it this month. We expanded this show for 2 hours from 8 to 10 every Sunday morning here on 101 ESPN. For many of you listening, you're probably headed to the Ascension Charity Classic out at Norwood Hills Country Club, which is getting rave reviews. It's in excellent shape. And already this week, there's been the putting challenge that raised thousands of dollars for local charities. Yesterday featured the celebrity shootout, and I was honored to MC that event with LPGA Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez, who also was part of the putting challenge, and she's back again here in 2023. Again, another part of the tournament that raises thousands of dollars for the community. So all told, this past week, we will raise over $1 million for St. Louis, and in particular, North St. Louis County. Nick Ragone heads up the Ascension Charity Classic.
To put on a sporting event, you need to have support of the community, the business community, and we're fortunate. We have great partners, including Worldwide Technologies. There's so many great corporate citizens in St. Louis and in the area that we were able to give back $250,000 to charity in year one without playing. As you remember, we had to cancel because of COVID, and we kept our commitment to the Boys and Girls Club, Mary Grove, and the Urban League because we felt it was that important to set a precedent, and it's the only time that's ever been done in the history of tour that an event is given back $250,000 before a single shot's been hit. And so that portended good things. And The second year we gave back $800,000. Last year we gave back $1.3 million. This year we'll exceed that. And everybody always asks me, what's the number you look at during the week? Ticket sales or attendance, strength of field? I look at all that, but ultimately the number that I care about the most is the dollar figure to charity, and that number needs to go up every year, and that's what I'm most pleased about.
It's pretty amazing, too, when you think about the game of golf, PGA Tour, Champions Tour, as compared to the major professional sports. I don't think it gets enough credit of just how charitable, and you've seen this firsthand, just how charitable golf has been week in and week out.
You know, last summer and even this year, we've talked a lot about growing the game of golf. It's been a conversation that's been going on in golf and outside of golf. And having an event like this, you understand up close what grows the game of golf is community engagement. It's not just seeing the elite pros on TV playing for a lot of money. That's actually the easy part. The more important part is bringing a live event, having the community rally around it, raising money to support and do good for charities, and then growing that and making it more diverse and inclusive. You know, one of the things we did last year is we added a second event, the APGA Classic, which is the Advocates Professional Golf Association, a wonderful tour. It's been around for 10 years. It's committed to making golf more diverse and inclusive at the elite ranks. And now it has a partnership with the PGA Tour. It's actually, over time, I think it'll become a feeder for the Korn Ferry Tour. But the point is, to grow the game of golf, you need community engagement and you need to give back. And that's kind of the core of it. And I think the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour Champions business model is the best in professional sports because it allows you to put on great sport, great entertainment, but it allows you to engage companies in a much deeper, more meaningful way because they understand the dollars that they use for pro-ams or hospitality, ticket sales, sponsorships really goes back to supporting charities they already care about and support in the community. And for us to do it in an area of the St. Louis that is underserved and underinvested makes it even more special.
So to Nick Ragone, Steve Spratt, all those at Ascension who are part of the Charity Classic, we say thank you. Coming up, we'll wrap up the show, give away some golf balls, and this is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our back 9 bar and grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
I want to welcome Redbird Heating and Cooling to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. You can reach them at 314-320-9507 or on the website redbirdhvac.com. CEOs Jed Dickinson and Jerry Pearson run the area's most responsive and dedicated heating and cooling company that's been conscientiously supporting the St. Louis area for the last decade. Just last month, when my air conditioner stopped working, Jed and his team were at my home at 7 a.m. to replace one unit and then repair the other. Your money, like it's our money, was Jed's statement to me, and the repairs for Unit 2 was less than $200. If you want to work with a family-owned business that you can trust, then call 314-320-9507 or visit them at redbirdhvac.com. That's redbirdhvac.com. Hey, this is Jay Delsing, and we golfers are always looking for ways to improve our games. For me, that means I want the very best and the very latest in equipment and in technology. The place for me is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened Pro-Am Golf Center in 1975, and ever since then, he and his family have provided St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and the latest in the ever-changing world of golf technology. Whether you are a scratch golfer looking to find the latest in rangefinders or a newcomer looking to find your first set of clubs, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. You say you're looking to get yourself custom fitted for a new set of clubs? You need to call TJ. He has fit me personally, and he is the best in town. If you mention my name, CJ will take 50% off the already low fitting price. So if you need anything from golf balls to a new pair of shoes or a lesson from Tom, who, by the way, has been helping St. Louisans play better golf for over 45 years, Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood is the place for you. You can also visit them at proamusa.com. That's Pro-Am Golf.
Golf with Jay Delsing on this Sunday morning on 101 ESPN. With Jay Delsing, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jay playing in the final round of the Ascension Charity Classic at Norwood Hills Country Club. We asked for some emails. We get those throughout the week as well. One of the things that happens if you email Jay, you go into a pool for free golf balls, and let's do that right now.
Guys, just send me an email, jay@jdelsinggolf.com. Just put balls. I would like some golf balls, anything about we give away a dozen TP5 TaylorMade golf balls, compliments of Jeff Thornhill and the TaylorMade Golf Company, and it's been a big hit. But, man, and Danny, since we started going from 1 hour to 2 hours, man, are we getting some golf ball requests. So the month of August, we sent out 4 dozen, and we pick a name each week, and at the end of the month, we send them out to you. So everybody needs golf balls. That's what we know, and the TP5s are great.
They're great. I've been playing them, as you know, and I need a bunch of them because I spray them. But it's not the golf ball's fault.
They don't float, do they?
They don't float, that's for sure.
Float. Man, that sucks.
Jay@jdelsinggolf.com. This is Steve, who apparently is headed right now to the Ascension Charity Classic. Says, guys, I have a ticket. What should I do on the final day of the Ascension? What's your best advice?
Oh, man, you got to start, Steve. First of all, thanks for supporting the tournament. You got to go to the range first, and you got to watch the guys warm up. You'll be fascinated at what you see. You're going to see a lot of different swings with a lot of ways to get the ball to go where they want it. You'll see guys that hit the ball lower. You'll see guys hit it higher. You'll see left to right. You'll see right to left. All sorts of different stuff out there. It's super, super fun. And then go hang out at the putting green, and you're going to see there'll be a lot of shaky strokes over there at our age now, but you'll also see a lot of great strokes. And, you should go out and watch Bernhard Langer somewhere along the line. Here's the guy that owns the scoring, a lot of the scoring records, the title record for most championships won on the Champions Tour. He's 65 years old. He's still playing great, and he's super, super nice, kind guy. So he'd obviously say hello to you, but just watch some of those guys. And then if there's someone that your physical stature or your build resembles, go check them out. You're a shorter guy, go watch Corey Pavin play a little bit. Go watch Paul Goitos. If you're a taller guy, come watch me or watch Ernie Els. It's a different game, Danny. We talk about this all the time. It's not a one-size-fit-all sort of thing.
Jay at jdelsinggolf.com. Mary from South St. Louis also. And I'm trying to knock out some of the Ascension questions here in the final day of the Ascension. But Mary asking, is there a spot on the course that I should go hang out at to see the most players come through? Is there one spot that is the best spot to go to?
Good call, Danny. What would you
I'd say 17. You know, you're around there. You can follow it. You're going to see some tee shots potentially.
Yep. You got Club 314 really close. There's a lot of food and beverage up there.
I also think 18's awesome. If you can hang around 18.
It is. And you got the Marcone viewing deck for all of our first responders. Folks, you know, it's probably too late. I don't know. Get online, and it's what is it? It's AscensionCharityClassic.com, and it's our complimentary tickets for any first responder, men and women, your family. We've got some food and beverage, great vantage point out there. There's just something for everybody out there.
Is there somebody that you like to watch that either you compete against or you'll be on the range like you were just saying before and telling our listener, hey, go watch this or go watch this guy putt? Is there somebody for you specifically that you like to watch?
I'd say John Daly.
Absolutely.
Danny, his hands are so good. And he doesn't care.
No, and he still hits it a mile.
He hits it a mile. It doesn't look good. He's a little overweight. His hair is whiter than mine.
Chain smoking.
A lot of, but he's really a great guy. He'd sign any autograph he ever wanted, and he was so far ahead of his time, Danny, at the time.
100%.
Just so far ahead of his time.
Bombing it like that.
Just bombing it, and was for a long hitter, was really a straight driver of the ball, for sure.
Anybody else come to mind? I guess maybe even Bernard Langer.
And
maybe
Ernie Els. I mean, there's a 5-time major winner and a World Golf Hall of Famer. Colin Montgomery, I mean, he will still stripe some irons for you. He will absolutely stripe some irons for you.
By the way, you were with Colin, and I saw it. That was, Wednesday night this past week?
Yeah, but I promised it. It was fantastic. We were at the Ladue Racket Club, and Colin, I got to just sit down with Colin and throw a few questions at him. We're both I Promise ambassadors, and he's a single malt Scotch guy now. I mean, it's interesting when you get our age. I guess when you've had as much to drink over the years as we've had, he's a Scotch connoisseur as well.
How about the fact that he would just get ridden by the fans?
Yeah,
which is something that you talked about, and I don't know. It was kind of uncomfortable as a viewer, but I thought he handled it pretty well for the most part.
I think so too, and I mean, it's a really difficult situation. I like Colin a lot. He won 8 consecutive Order of Merit, Danny, on the European PGA Tour at the time. He is never been defeated in singles matches in the Ryder Cup. He's got like a 29-7 record, which is off the charts, and just another World Golf Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Steve in South St. Louis, and this is at Jay at jdelsinggolf.com. Jay, what have you seen as being the key this weekend to playing Norwood? You had the chance to play the Pro-Ams, but what's been the key this weekend for some of the top guys?
Yeah, Danny, it's a little underrated, but if you drive your ball in the fairway, you're going to have an opportunity to control your irons better. You know how brutal the greens are if you get on the wrong side of the flag. So if you got a lot of downhill putts, you are going to be defensive. That's all there is to it. It's just difficult, and you've got to stay. You've got to stay below the hole to be able to hold a bunch of putts.
It's been amazing how smooth this tournament has been run. Yep. They've got this thing down to a science. Nick Ragone, Steve Spratt, and that crew.
Yeah, they really do. And HNS, Dan Sullivan and his guys over there with Alonzo and Tim and Connor and Maggie and oh gosh, I know I forgot a bunch of people, but they're just terrific. And the other thing, Danny, it's we've harped on it, but the corporate help, the corporate support, it just makes you feel great as a player when you're going out on the back nine and you're seeing all these people having a beverage, maybe some catering, and they're in there watching you. It's just super cool.
How have you kept your emotions in check? You have. I've watched on Friday and Saturday. You'll do it again. So you've kept your emotions in check.
There's just a lot of butterflies. That first tee shot, man, there's no way to describe it. Denny, I will say this. maybe in all of sport. The longest walk in all of sport is from the driving range to that first tee because
anxiety.
Oh man, anxiety. Your heart is racing, and you know you can't. You don't want to swing hard. You want to have some sort of sense of rhythm, but all your adrenaline wants to do is rip the club out of there and swing as fast and hard as you can. So, yeah, it's a hell of an experience. It has been just a joy for me.
And finally, we got about a minute left, but let's talk about what Friday and Saturday was like. We always talk about preparation, maybe before a shot, before a putt, but what your preparation before 18 holes of golf, what's that been like?
Just trying. So I've really been doing a lot of meditation and a lot of visualization, just trying to prepare myself for the situations because it's been so long. It's been 2 years plus since I've played an event, and it's just not. It just doesn't come natural for me, and so, I mean, it did at one time, and it's not like I've forgotten. It's just there's just a lot of anxiety and a lot of when there's something about tournament golf, Danny, that somebody said to me the other day, it's just too hard. Tournament golf is stupid. It's just too hard, and I never play it well. And he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about himself, and I said, well, I mean, so what do you think? You should just be able to pick up your putts and not, I mean, you can't. And he goes, I know, but it just, so that's that litmus test, that gives you the indication of where are you and how do you stand. And the best thing, Danny, when it's all said and done, I get to look up at that scoreboard, whether I played well or not, or whether I won the tournament or not. My score, I wear it.
Yep. One way or another.
I wear it. It was me, and it was good, and it was me, and it was bad, and it was me. So, you just got to play better.
You're to be commended for everything you've done for the Ascension Charity Classic.
You too, my friend. You
been
too.
Great.
Thank you for the personal help. I know you had your whip cracked out and helped me, and then you got your feet wet to caddy a few times. That was a hell of a fun experience.
It was a great experience.
Yeah, I loved it.
So much fun. Our thanks to Taylor Twellman for stopping by in studio. Again, we do this every Sunday, 8 to 10 on 101 ESPN. And how do we end the show, Jay Bird?
Hit 'em straight, St. Louis.